Hi guys, can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Fantastic. Welcome to everybody. This is the first meeting of Scottish PowerShell user group. So welcome to the group. I put out the agenda for it. This is just so we could just keep something on track. This isn't formal at all. I'm just another member of the group. I know I started the group. I'm just another member of the group. I want to try and get as much out of it as hopefully you guys do as well. So I'll just kick off with who I am. My name is Paul Broadwith. I'm a freelancer, a contractor, whatever you want to call me, and I've been working in IT for the last 25 odd years. And I've been working as a contractor since about 2001. A small break in there where I was permanent, but pretty much since 2001 I've been working as a contractor. I concentrate on the Wintel side of things, which would make sense for PowerShell, even though now it's on Linux. Everything from kind of Windows Server. I've got an Active Directory role at the moment. Windows Server, Active Directory. I've done Exchange in the past, but I'm trying to, like probably all of you, try to use PowerShell more and more. And it's becoming more and more of a job. Scripting or coding, whatever you want to call it, is a kind of career move. And that seems to become more and more in my job, and as I said, probably yours as well. So that's where I came from, and the reason why I wanted to start this group is we're kind of a member of, if you like, of the UK PowerShell groups. There's currently 2 of them. There's another one kicking off in the southeast of England. So there's one in London. There's one in Manchester, and as I said, there's one kicking off in the southeast. I don't think they've had their first meeting yet. I think it's they're just kind of trying to start up like we did. So that'll be 4 of us. There'll probably be more kicking off as well. So we're kind of, as I said, we're a member of that, and there is a website for that, which is actually I've just got access to. I think it was last night I got access to that. So I'll pass on the URL for that. But there's also a Slack channel. Now, I don't know if everybody's aware of what Slack is. If anybody's old enough to remember IRC, like me, it's basically just chat. That's all Slack effectively is. Everything's in channels, just like IRC was. So I've put that link out a couple of times. I think it's on the meetup page, but I'll send that out again. I'm just going to take a note as well. You'll probably hear me typing, and that's basically I'm just taking some notes. So and the group came from the fact that there is nothing in Scotland for PowerShell. There's a lot of other groups in Meetup. You've probably seen yourselves, maybe attend some. But there was nothing purely for PowerShell, and that's what I was interested in. And short of jumping in the car and going down to Manchester every time, this was the only real option of doing it. So this is why I tried to start the group. The group originally went on to Meetup. I think it was around about this time last April, middle of last April, and I wanted to kind of build up to about 20 odd members before I started doing anything with it, and it hit that stage about tail end of last year, I think. And it's just getting time and getting things moving to get to this stage. This is why it's taken almost a year. But in the last, what have we got now? We're in April. Last 6 months, it's more than doubled in size. So the momentum has picked up for it. One of the things I've tried to talk about, or should I say, one of the things I've tried to mention in the emails I've been sending you guys, the discussion threads on meetup.com, is that I was really keen in getting this group to be the whole of Scotland. Maybe ambitious, but it's a large country, even though our population's not as big as it is in England, but we are a large country, so trying to get everybody in the one place for a physical meetup is difficult. Do everything. We do have a couple of members from it, but the majority of people are in the Central Belt, but I still wanted to include everybody in the group. I want to do it face-to-face, but I'm thinking online might be best until we establish a core group of people. If we get, let's say all 6 of us are the core group and we're all from Central Scotland, it would make sense for us to meet up rather than do everything via free conference call or whatever. Should it be that the core group is dispersed all over Scotland, then my plan would be to try and get a meet-up maybe once or twice a year. We can maybe get a whole day thing where we all get together. So these are just ideas just now. Obviously, we're just the first meeting, but that's just where I'm thinking things should go. But as I've said, this is a group for everybody, and I'm wanting to know what everybody else wants to do. So I've kind of said my piece. The next part on the agenda is always the bit where you've got to stand up. So it's now your turn to stand up and say, your name's John, and let us know a bit about you. So if I can just go through people in the list I've got in front of me, I've got the attendee list. The very first person on there is Robin. So Robin, if you could just let us know a bit about yourself, what your background is, and what you're using PowerShell, what you're wanting to get out of the group. Just 30, 60 seconds, nothing long.
I've just recently graduated from uni. Just most of the jobs in where we work just now ask you to know a bit of PowerShell. So I'm just looking to learn a bit more. Quite new to PowerShell myself.
Thanks for that, Robin. David, could you let us know a bit about you?
Yeah, hi, I'm Dave McIsaac. I'm an infrastructure consultant and I work over in Paisley. So I cover all the Microsoft streams, the AD, SCCM, Exchange, and so on. So I usually use PowerShell on a day-to-day basis, whether it's to gather information for customers' environments or to actually implement configuration for customers again. And what I'm really trying to get out of the group is I've looked at some of the things I've done down south, and most about automation and developing applications and so on. So just to try and connect with like-minded individuals and take it from there.
Gus, can you tell us a bit about yourself and what you're wanting to get out of the group, etc.?
Yeah, hi everybody. I've been working professionally in IT for a better part of 17 years now, mostly for one place, all like 16 and a half years old. But I'm kind of, over those years, I've kind of been an IT jack of all trades. Kind of had AD, Citrix, AppSense, Exchange, but currently right now in an AppSense role. So, but PowerShell, as somebody once said to me years ago, the clue's in the name. Yeah, it's a very powerful tool. And one of the things I'd really like to get out of the group is how not to make total mistakes with PowerShell, as in how to do PowerShell properly. One of the first PowerShell scripts I ever run, I managed to disable the distribution list functionality of our Exchange environment for an entire week, which I was not popular with the IT management for. So you all get a good laugh at that. How to learn how to do PowerShell properly. So hopefully I can draw on like-minded individuals. So anyway, that's me.
Thanks, Gus. Yeah, that's we've all made mistakes in IT. We've got, is it J Young F9? I'm not sure of your first name. Could you give us a bit about yourself and also tell us your first name?
Paul. First of all, thanks very much. Hope you can hear me okay. Thanks very much for setting up the group. Just really interested in learning a bit more about PowerShell. I've done a wee bit PowerCLI back in the day on VMware. I've been involved in IT for about 25 years now. I've moved about a year ago after working for the NHS for 16 years on their infrastructure in NHS Tayside. And I've just kind of started working with a great group of people in the centre of Glasgow. So, yeah, I'm basically still fairly new to PowerShell, and I kind of just want to get more information about the right way to do it. I've had a few goes at trying to get my head around it, but I just feel some bits and pieces of it are a bit complex, so it might help to get ideas from people in the group. Thanks very much.
Thanks for that, James.
No problem.
And Colin, you're the last one left.
Last but not least. Hi, I'm Colin Westwater. Been in the IT industry for 17 years now at the same company. I started as a student. Server admin's my official title, but with just me in the facility, it's a jack of all trades. Really focus on VMware and Microsoft technologies, but this year I really want to focus in on building my automation skills, which I know my way around PowerShell, but it's more a case of hacking it until it works and a good use of Google. I did computer science for my degree, and I can't remember the principles of programming or scripting. So I really want to get out of this group doing things the correct way and just expanding my knowledge. And, you know, PowerShell's, as someone said, it's powerful. It's a good way of keeping your skills up to date and progressing your career, I feel.
Thanks for that, Colin. It seems to be that a lot of people are new to PowerShell. I mean, just to kind of let you know where I am in PowerShell. I mean, I've been using PowerShell for the last few years. I am no expert in it. I've never met any coder, programmer, script, or whatever you want to call them, who thinks they're an expert. Good ones. Everybody learns new stuff every day, and I'm forever doing stupid things. One of the things I'm very keen on when I code, it generally takes me longer to do stuff in PowerShell than it would do maybe other people, because I tend to try and do it a particular way. I tend to try and stick to best practices, recommendations, rather than just banging a script out on the keyboard and they go runs. I try and think that, what if someone else picks this up? So that's why it takes me longer to do it. And kind of best practices, and as I said, and kind of there's a best practices and style guidelines site on GitHub, which I will actually try and I'll add to this list to send out. That's really useful. You can also, if anybody's ever used GitHub, you can also submit pull requests to that. There's a chat bit about it where, you know, a lot of people say, no, how about this or that, and they talk about different things. One of the big things was the case. I don't know if you know about camel case and Pascal case. Anybody not know about it?
No, I don't know about that.
Right, okay. I always get the two mixed up, so someone correct me. Camel case is what they tend to use for variables. Camel case is, if you've got a word and it's, well, let's take my name, Paul Broadwith. The variable name for that would be small p, capital B, and it'd all be, you know, be one word. Whereas Pascal case is capitals for each word, and they tend to use camel case for variable names. So as I said, it would be small p, Paul Broadwith, and the function names would tend to be capitalised. So it would be, the function would be Paul dash Broadwith. It tends to be in PowerShell. It's the verb dash, you know, whatever it's going to do. So that's the difference between camel case and Pascal case. So I tried, you know, there's been conversations about that with the style guidelines as well, because there is nothing from Microsoft to tell you how to program in PowerShell. There's, you know, a lot of languages kind of try to make you code in a particular way, whereas PowerShell doesn't do that. This is why they've tried to come up with this best practices and kind of style guidelines, so that everybody's kind of coding the same way. You pick someone else's up, you can spot variable names right away because they're named the way you would expect. So I'll send that out as well. It's a Slack channel, the link to the group and the best practices and style guidelines as well. Is everybody okay with everything we've talked about just now?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking this meeting would probably be about anywhere between half an hour long, because it's just the first meeting. As I said, I'm just wanting to get a feel for what everybody is looking for, and we can maybe talk about some topics as well. But the next item on the agenda is something I've already talked about, which was establishing a regular core of members and a discussion around online and face-to-face meetings. If we, for example, were that core group, then that would be ideal for face-to-face meetings. Assuming, of course, as I said, others didn't want to from other parts of Scotland. But if we only had one user from Inverness and they only appeared once in a blue moon, again, we have to do what's best for us, but best for the core group. If we can record these meetings, for example, then people from other parts of Scotland could see them. One other thought I had, if we had maybe only a couple of people in other parts of Scotland that couldn't attend a face-to-face meeting, we could set up a webcam whenever we meet face-to-face, and they could see what we're doing. And we can make all the bits and pieces with the PowerPoint presentations and the audio all available afterwards, so we could try and get them to participate as much as possible. So that's for going forward. One thing that we obviously we're wanting to get out of this is information. How everybody else is using PowerShell, and get some things that we can go away and try. And that's what I want to talk about for topics for future meetings. Now, I mentioned way back when I kind of started looking at getting this first meeting up and running, I talked about Pester. Is anybody else familiar with Pester? It's PES. Yeah. Who was that?
It's Colin. I've looked into it, but I'm just not at that level yet.
Right, okay. Anybody else use Pester or know what it is?
I've heard of Pester, and it's basically some kind of tool for analysis and testing. Is that right? It's kind of like
it's like unit testing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's it's one of those things that's sort of difficult to get your head around, particularly if you're I find programmers who program in higher level languages tend to do a lot of unit testing, particularly in larger organisations, so they know what it is. But scripters don't tend to do it. You know, if you cut PowerShell, Python, all that stuff, we don't tend to do any of that stuff. But because PowerShell is incredibly powerful, as what I've already said, and it's been used for more and more jobs, they have come out with the framework for Pesto. It's actually shipped with Windows 10. It's an earlier version, but you just update it like you update any module. And what it does is it will actually test your code, so you can test a particular function will do a particular thing, and it will do, it'll throw this particular error under these circumstances. It'll give you this particular data if you feed it in that particular data, and it'll just test your function, so that you know that function works. So at a later time, when additional requirements have been added, you can amend that function, and you can make sure that it still outputs the same information and it outputs the same errors, at the end, because you've got maybe other functions relying on it. So it's very important it still does what everything else expects. Does you can use it for a whole load of other things. People are talking about using it for, I don't know if anybody's used DSC. They're talking about using it for actually testing your infrastructure. You can use it for that because it's just a testing framework. It tests code.
Paul, I'm just going to expand on that as well. VMware is my first love, and there's a product that Chris Wall, who's quite the famous scripter in the VMware world, he's developing Vesta for running against your VMware infrastructure.
That's right. I read about that a little while ago, actually. But yeah, that looked quite interesting that they were kind of forking that, and he was using that for that kind of stuff as well. I thought that was interesting that people are starting to use this framework for other things. And I've seen a couple of Chris's scripts as well. I think he's got a GitHub repo. I'm sure I've seen some of his stuff on there. Yeah, I'm sure it was Vesta I've seen on there. So that's what Pester does. It's kind of hard to explain. It's better looking at it, to be honest. It's one of those things you would probably look at and go, okay, I kind of get where it's coming from. So that was one of the things I was want to do, because at the time I was quite passionate about Pester. On my GitHub repo, I've got a couple of modules that use it, and I test all my functions with it. It's actually really useful. When you start to get into it, it is very, very useful. So that's something I was wanting to do, was one on that. But as we've kind of talked about, a lot of people are new to PowerShell, as I've mentioned, and maybe doing stuff like best practices, talking about, the camel case, Pascal case, functions, writing commandlets, and, the kind of basics might be a good idea to go over. So I don't know what other people think. If you might just kind of chime in. And
I think as well, when you're talking about basics, even commenting, because as someone mentioned before, being able to hand that script off to someone else.
Yeah, and I think they talk a lot about, rather than commenting PowerShell code as well, they say use write verbose. That's that, and it comments itself. That's something else that's kind of come out of it. Obviously, you can't use it for everything. But yeah, I think that is really good, because when you look at other people's scripts and there are no comments in it, it takes you 10 times longer to understand what on earth it's doing. When that little bit of weird code could just be commented in a line, just saying, but this is what this does and this is why I did this. It takes away all that mystery. So I think that's really good. Does anybody else have anything on it?
What I'm interested in learning more about is DSC, because I'm primarily a Windows Server admin, and learning how to use that to keep my infrastructure in shape would be very useful for me.
Oh, I agree. I think I mentioned again in one of the earlier emails that I'd sent out that I'm going to the PowerShell conference in Hanover next month, and one of the tracks they've got is for DSC, and it's not something I've picked up before. It looks like a massive investment of your time to understand DSC. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anybody else has used DSC on the call. That'll be a no. Does everybody know what DSC is? No.
Yeah, desired state configuration.
Desired state configuration.
Yeah.
I've seen all the kind of the MVPs champion desired state configuration for if you have your nano servers or servers need to run to certain configuration, but I've never used it in Angular before, never used it in any production environments. So if you have larger environments need to keep the same state, then it would be worthwhile, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But, I never knew of Vesta. I recently did a vSphere upgrade, and I think Vesta would have came in handy from doing a quick Google about it there, just to check environments. So I think that maybe if that was added to the topic at some point.
Yeah, that would be good. Colin, have you used Vesta? I know you said you had to look at it, but have you actually used it?
I've just looked at it.
Okay.
I attend all the VMware user groups that are held, and I recognise actually James from attending those. I've been in his presentations, and it's something that I've thought about suggesting as a topic, because they're always looking for suggestions at the VMware user groups.
Right, okay. James, so you're a bit of a guru on the VMware then?
Well, it's kind of like you said earlier about people being experts. You know, absolutely not an expert. You know, it's just been about 7 years with VMware stuff. So yeah, but no, I mean, I think you know, hearing you speaking about multiple functions and calling functions and stuff like that, I'm like, that's above my head in terms of, you know, getting like a big chunk of code and making it go and do things. I've got to learn how to do that. I'm very basic on PowerShell.
Yeah. Well, this is, I mean, there is no level for this group. That's for everybody. Yeah. Everybody's got to start somewhere. So, that's, we've all been at that stage. So, you know, it's great that you're moving it on anyway. And with, as you said, I think it was yourself said about PowerCLI, becoming more and more, you know, involved with VMware. I think that it's going to become one of those, again, essential tools that you use, particularly for a Windows environment.
This, Colin, just to give you an example, like, you know, all our servers are HP clients, and so HP have got commandlets you can now download to manage your ILO infrastructure setups.
I've seen that,
so the factory that I work in, very much, you know, Toyota production system, lean continuous improvement, and they have like a continuous improvement idea of the month. No one outside the manufacturing has won a monthly prize until I did it this week, from using PowerShell and those HP commandlets to reduce a 40-step manual process for setting up a new ILO to a script. So that kind of resonated with the non-IT people, that, you know, I can provide some good value for continuous improvement in the factory.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So you said you won a prize for that?
Yeah, just an internal gift vouchers.
Right. Okay. I thought we were going to see you in the Oscars.
No.
Yeah.
But it just shows that, you know, they didn't appreciate that, you know, the productivity improvements can be done by IT. So that's a good example for the non-IT people. They keep joking that I'm going to be replaced with a script.
Yeah, IT tend to make things more difficult for people rather than making it easy. So it's I'm probably surprised that IT has actually helped them out.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've put down DSC on the list there. I've put down Pesta and Investor. Does anybody else get any topics that they would like to cover that we haven't discussed?
If anyone has any good books they've read or blogs or things like that they can, you know, I read a crap load of stuff, and some of it's junk, some of it's good, and I'm potentially missing some good stuff. So it'd be interesting to hear how other people have learned what they know. Certainly for me, I've got work pays for a Pluralsight subscription, and they've got a ton of PowerShell content in there that's really good. But if there's any books or blogs or blog posts or, you know, anything like that that people think might help other people, it'd be good to hear about those.
Have you read PowerShell and the Monthly Lunches? That seems to be the book that's recommended most often. It's not the one I started with.
I haven't actually. So I've got it downloaded on my Kindle, but I'm focusing on my VMware certifications just now.
Okay. Well, that's supposed to be, as I said, I didn't start with that book. That's supposed to be one of the best books to do.
Right.
To read, should I say, for PowerShell. The other two books, I mean, we're talking about Pesta and DSC. If you go into leanpub.com, I think it's Don Jones has written the DSC book and the Pesta book. I've read half of the Pesta book. It's a kind of work in progress. And I haven't read the DSC book, but the Pesta book's very good as well. So that there might be a couple of things to check out. Does anybody else get any other kind of topics that they're looking for?
It's Gus here. Quite like the idea of using PowerShell for end-user computing. You know, giving users one of the scripts I wrote in my previous employment when PowerShell script was that it detected the user session. You know, it set up a whole bunch of stuff. You know, the user session that was logging on established certain parameters, certain settings, and if anything was wrong, then it would alert the user, telling them their session was bad, as in, you know, a particular GPO hadn't run, and so that they're not going to get the best performance, they should probably log off straight away. I quite like the idea of using PowerShell for that. It's something we could maybe talk about or share.
When you were talking there, Gus, you were talking about kind of something that runs in the user space and they can see. I put down GUI, so GUIs for PowerShell, because that's not, we tend to think of PowerShell's command line script, but there is a sort of, I think it's getting richer GUI framework round about it that we can use as well, so I've put that down. Something I've tried to look for a while, and I've not been able to find, is stuff to manage group policy beyond what the basic stuff is that Microsoft gives you. Thought that would be handy, because I don't see much out there. I actually started to create some PowerShell scripts to be able to do that. It just never went anywhere. I just didn't have the time, but that's something that I'll maybe look into as well. See how we can manage that.
I read a blog post, I can't remember where it was recently, and some people are saying that's Microsoft's end goal is to replace group policy with desired state configuration.
Yeah, I've got that as well. That seems to be going that road. But whenever I try and look up client-side DSC, to run on your laptops, you don't really get anything. It always just focuses on servers. I've not actually got anything that I can take that forward, because at home, probably most of us, I don't have a domain here, but I've got, what have I got? I've got a desktop, a Surface, a laptop, and a tablet. And I'd quite like them to be in sync for some stuff. I want to be able to jump between machines, because I do that. And I'd like them to be able to set up the same way. But rather than doing it manually, I'd like to have something that, just like a logon script that runs. And somebody did say to me, have a look at DSC. And it's just getting time to do that. But looking, Googling client-side DSC comes up with nothing. So it could be that's what they're trying to do, completely away from group policy, because it's a total pain to manage at times. Anybody that does manage it will know that. At the moment, I've got a few topics about the kind of basics, PowerShell, DSC, we've got Pest Investor, GUI stuff, group policy. Anybody else want anything? I mean, even if it's basic stuff, and I try to stress that we've all been at the basic level, so don't feel that you're saying you want topics on basic stuff and that can't be done. If you're looking for anything, just let us know.
I would like some basic stuff, because as I say, I just graduated, and in university we never really done much on PowerShell, so it's only since I started in my current role that people have started talking about it as a big thing. So that's why I joined this group, just to try and get an idea of what's happening and the best way to go forward with it.
What level are you at, Robin?
Just beginning. Very basic.
Right, okay. What have you written? I mean, have you got things like what commandlets are, what functions are?
Yeah, I can't remember who it was talking about the Pluralsight stuff. I've been going through that just now, because through my role I get access to the Pluralsight, so I've just been going through that. But yeah, I'm at the very bottom level, working my way up at the moment. Okay.
Well, Ian's popped a link into the chat window there. I'm just going to have a look at it. See, it's general PowerShell usage tips. Yeah, I think that's quite helpful. Just the first thing that I usually tell people when they're not sure about PowerShell is the help. Not that we'll go over all this today, but as I said, this is just to try and get some topics for a future meeting. But if you're stuck in PowerShell is fantastic help. We've got, if you're looking at Ian's post, you've got Get Help there. I tend to use man, which is an alias for Get Help, but it pages it as well, so you don't get just a screen full of text that you've got to scroll back through. Everything's in there. And Get Members, another one. If you've got a variable, for example, got an object, or what, you can pipe it through Get Member. You'll get the members, you'll get the properties of that particular object, because everything in PowerShell is an object. We've went through everything that's on the agenda. If there's anything else anybody wants to discuss or what they want to get out of the meeting, now's the chance to say that. Otherwise, if you've got no other topics to add on, we can wrap up for today. It's been 45 minutes, which is good. It's more than I was expecting. So does anybody else get anything they want to kind of bring up, they want to discuss, or they want to use the group for? Anything you want to let us know even?
It's James again. I was just wondering if we could maybe set a date or a time for the next meeting, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. If we want to make it the 17th then, if at 7 o'clock, I'm happy to do that, and I'll put that out in the email. Nobody else has got anything else to add, guys. I think we'll wrap up this first meeting and just say thank you very much for coming along. And there'll be further emails. We've obviously got a list of topics here. I'm happy to do the pester one, but if anybody else wants to jump in with other ones,
Thanks very much for organising this for us as well.
Yeah, thanks for pulling it together, mate. Yeah.
No problem. Let's see what we can get out of it. Hopefully we'll get quite a lot of it. Thank you very much, and hopefully speak to you soon. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.